Alright, let's see here. Well, it looks like we're live. Yeah, I see the gameplay going. Alright, good evening everyone, and welcome back to another exhilarating episode of the Xbox Roundtable Podcast, with this being show number 315. Your place for Xbox talk, and lots more from us across the game industry. Naturally, I am Invader, your host tonight, and I am looking forward to the chat this evening. We'll be covering the Ubisoft Forward event. Did anything catch our eyes? Well, hey, you know what? We will let you know very soon on that. Also, IGN Live, we had a variety of stuff showing off there, plus Phil Spencer's interview that discussed a slew of things, and who knows, we'll go into some details there, and many, many more. But yeah, guys, before I forget, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there tuning in, watching, and listening to us live. As with the motto here, guys, hey, kick back, relax, pop a cold one, because, hey, tonight you deserve it, especially today. So, again, happy Father's Day. You guys rock. Now, before diving in, let's introduce everyone on for tonight. And, a little bit short-staffed tonight, but we will make the most of it. Eric Shockley, buddy. Hey, what's up, brother?
Not much. Just been felt nostalgic after last week and getting into some Perfect Dark on Rare Replay. That Perfect Dark Zero, though, I don't know if that holds up. I never finished it back in the day, but that first level is rough as hell to just like, this is bad. It's not good.
I knew a lot of people that liked it, and I owned it as well, but it's one of those things where I thought they had some cool ideas, but I thought it was a little like too cartoony for me personally, but
well, I think what happened was when they bought Rare, it was supposed to come out for the GameCube, because I remember being a big Nintendo fanboy at the time, and it was like, oh, awesome, Perfect Dark's coming to the GameCube. They had a whole preview on it in like EGM magazine. But when they bought Rare right after that, I think they just took that game. Hey, we need something. We're not going to have Halo ready yet for this new console. Oh,
right.
Perfect Dark. Okay, just port whatever you were going to put on the GameCube. And that's what it looks like. It looks like it didn't look like it was a next-gen game. It looks like it was, remastered. They did what they could with the new hardware with it, but everything looks so plasticky, and it's just...
Mm-hmm.
It was just that first level was just I think it might get better later in the game, but that first level was just like,
mm-hmm.
This just feels bad for even, early PS2 era. Like early first 2000, before, games really started dropping.
It was kind of a weird place, like, they had a few, because, that was at launch, and they had a couple of them. What was it, like Perfect Dark and Cameo, I believe, Rare had? And...
Yeah, I blame the outlets. So people must have got paid off, because there was big, prominent outlets that were giving it 9s out of 10. I was like, and the cover looked really cool, and the promo they did look cool, just like the old one back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But when that came out, I'm like, you gave this a 9 or a 10 out of 10? Like, but I have been jumping in between that and pretty much all the Gears games running in, even the OG Gears game. I've done the Ultimate Edition, but the OG one I was playing, there's people. It was cool because in that one you can like pick your squad, or like literally when you load into the match, you kind of pick what side you want to be on, and everybody actually had mics, and it just felt like so nostalgic, where you're talking shit even to the other team, like in between rounds. I was like, oh, this definitely brings me back. So I had a blast doing that. But that's crazy that there's just like this whole Gears resurgence where you just want to jump on, name a Gears, and you can find the lobby relatively pretty quick.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Even I've been thinking about just the campaign, just going back, replaying a few levels, because The Gears E-Day trailer certainly got a lot of people nostalgic, right, for those titles. So yeah,
I went back to the original trailer for it, and it still holds up. It's so emotional too. That Mad World trailer with the music, like so many comments were just like were posting right after the E-Day trailer too. So.
I mean, it's simple but so effective, right? You get the right music with the right setting and the right, again, it doesn't have to. It did a lot right. You see like the creature. I forget. It's not a Brumac. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, just coming like out of the shadows. It is just like, oh man, that was great.
Actually, the Gears of War 2 trailer was really dope too. Like where it's just him and Dom getting shot into the ground, and they're about to bust open. And the song they had in that one was great too. So that was the one I almost. It's not on the same level, but it's right there with the Mad World. I wasn't a huge fan of the Gears of War 3 trailer like that. Didn't give me that hype. It was just like, okay, sure, like I'm hyped for Gears, but like, it just seemed like a generic trailer. But the other two, pretty fire.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with like how they were like setting it up with the environment and everything. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And yeah, I gotta get back into that, rediscover Gears. But yeah, Grimes, going over to you, bud. What's new and exciting?
What's up, peeps? Happy Father's Day to all the padres out there. Another week of no gaming for me, although I did pick up Devil May Cry 5, which is on sale on Steam for $10. And I did play it on Game Pass, but I want to go back and revisit it. But one thing I did do is watch sports pretty much all weekend, starting Friday. Non-stop, for real. Euro 2024 just started, and for anyone who lives under a rock, it's like the World Cup, just European teams. Spain played yesterday and England played today. They played earlier today. But we also had the 24-hour race of Le Mans happening Saturday morning. I think I probably watched a total of 12 hours yesterday. Woke up this morning just in time for the last 2 hours of a race. And one cool thing that I mentioned to you before the show is there were some Xbox advertisements throughout the track, as well as some Forza Motorsports billboards, which is cool to see. Although, like we talked about, like no one really talks about the game anymore, which is sad. But it's Turn 10's own fault for what happened to the game. But other than that, I'm hoping to get some gaming this week. I still need to finish Hellblade 2, and I downloaded a game that just dropped onto Game Pass. Something both you, Invader, and MLD rave about constantly, with Callisto Protocol.
Yes, that game. It's worth it. Definitely give that a try. Yeah.
I really don't like. I've mentioned this before. I really don't like Josh Duhamel, but I'm gonna try to put that aside and play the game.
The game itself is worth it. I'll just put like that. You'll understand what I mean with the intricacies in there, but yeah, it's definitely worth a go. But yeah, lots of stuff. I agree with you. A lot of sports, and to be honest, I haven't done a lot of gaming this past week either. If anything, I was focusing more on putting some minis together, some little 40K models. But otherwise, yeah, just busy doing some other stuff too. It's we have a little bit of a heat wave coming up. I think tomorrow too. So I was. Even though I already had my pool ready, just getting that ready, after I come home from work tomorrow, just rip off the solar cover and just dive right in. I'm looking forward to cooling off tomorrow. It's going to be a hot one the next week here, so cannot wait for that. Cannot wait. But yeah, guys, just a short crew tonight, but again, we'll make the most of it. And a very quick reminder to smash the like button and share the show, as we would love to have more awesome people with us live. The more the merrier, right? And we already got some awesome people in the chat as is. But yeah, all right, gentlemen, I'll cut to the chase. Let's get started here talking about Ubisoft's latest event. They held it earlier this week and showed off, well, a few things. Definitely focusing a big chunk of time on their two big releases coming up, Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. What else? Also adding in various live service game content updates, like X Defiant, Skull and Bones, and a few other titles, and For Honor and so on. But yeah, let's see. Shockley, I'll pick on you first here. I don't know if you paid attention at all to the Ubisoft event, but I don't know. Did you catch it at all? And did anything Ubisoft related, any of the games there, kind of catch your eye?
Yeah, a few things. I would say definitely the Star Wars Outlaws. I definitely wasn't into it like that much. Just from like the early things we saw from it. I mean, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I'd be like somewhat intrigued. But just from some of the other stuff I've read about it, with the whole like GTA like crime system, seems really cool. Where you can actually, if you're basically caught doing crimes, then you'll get, a certain level of attention. And then if you're like taking out some of those low level guards, eventually you might get up to the point where they're sending like death troopers. So that's pretty cool. The game reminds me of, if anyone had a N64 in the early, first few months, there was that game called Shadows of the Empire. So it kind of reminds me of that character, where you're kind of, it's like not directly tied with the Skywalkers. I guess in that game he did have like some ties with, I think, like maybe Han Solo or Leia. I can't remember, but you were doing stuff like outside of that direct line. You were kind of dealing with, kind of like what you're seeing in here, kind of like the Empire, and just, kind of doing your own like rogue situation, not directly with, being like a straight like good guy or whatever. But but this one looks pretty cool. I'm probably most hyped about Sands of Time, because I know the remake. Because I know when they first announced, I can't remember. I think it was like in 2000 they announced Prince of Persia. Was that also Sands of Time, or is that the one that they already released now? I can't remember what they showed off, because everybody looked at it and was like, "This looks terrible."
Not
and then they
entirely sure.
Shelved whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of like one of those Sonic things where they showed it off and everybody was like, "This looks terrible. Don't release this." And then they were like, "Okay, we're not." I can't remember if that was like a Sands of Time remake or just rebooting. I think it was supposed to be a remake, if I'm not mistaken, of Sands of Time. But that's cool that they're like, whatever they're doing, they're taking their time to actually, because especially those first two games were amazing. The first one's great. I never got too far in the second one, because that game at that age, it was kicking my ass. So that game was a little bit more difficult than the first one. Although the first one's not definitely not easy, especially when you get to those later rounds where you're having to like manage, like literally time stacked on time stacked on time, like of where your next move is going to go before you, because your hourglass actually literally runs out, to where you're not going to have any time left and you're just going to get wiped. So you have to like string all these attacks and, you know, do it perfectly. So definitely play that game. It's on backwards compatibility with the OG Xbox, and it looks great since it's enhanced. But that's cool that they're going to remake that, and hopefully we get Warrior Within after it. That'd be sick.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Godsmack will be on the intro, but with this licensing. But that would be dope if they did. Well, we'll see how it turns out. But if that turns out to be great, like a lot of the remakes we have you know, hit from different publishers, even Konami, who doesn't even like make games anymore, looks like they're about to you know, land the plane on MGS3 without, you know, Kojima. So if they can do it, I'm sure Ubisoft, who's actually pumping out quality games, you know, for the most part, can definitely do it. So that definitely looks dope. I should probably get into the other. I heard the other Prince of Persia game is pretty good, but definitely the Assassin's Creed game. That's probably the other one I'm probably interested. Obviously, we saw that at the Xbox showcase. I loved Black Flag. That was the one I played. The first few Assassin's Creeds. Played the first one. Liked it. I wasn't like huge fan, but there was so much hype around that first game, and then it just kind of got repetitive, and then I just like didn't bother with the rest until I think Xbox gave the second one for free, or if you had Xbox Live Gold. So I got into that and was like, oh, okay, this is way better than the first one. Then after I think it was there was two, and then there was like, I think it was Brotherhood right after. There was like two like Ezio games right there.
Yeah.
So after that, I didn't bother with the actual third one. That setting kind of seemed dumb, because I'm like, how is this going to work when there's not like towers, like or just like high points? I'd never played it, so maybe there was, but I'm like, this doesn't seem like it would work for this like 1776 setting. But yeah, the Black Flag, that's what kind of spoke to me of like, oh, okay, pirate ship where you're just doing like, and that's still today like one of the best, other than, you know, playing some Sea of Thieves.
You know, I'll
one
say
of the
this.
Pirates games, period. And it's weird how they screwed that up with like, I mean, Skull and Bones is going to be its own thing, but it's like, give us more of that, because people didn't even whenever you took you out of being a pirate and going back into the Animus thing, like, get me the hell out of here and get back to that. I don't want to ever take me out of this again. No, go ahead.
I mean, it's weird though, like, you know, they had the blueprints, because everyone's like, since Black Flag. And again, I had no intentions of playing Black Flag, to be honest with you. I was kind of Assassin's Creed out at the time, and then they gave it away on Games with Gold, if I recall. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then, you know, I played it. I didn't do like all the quests, but like I played it and I beat it. But yeah, I was shocked at how well and the battles were and how interesting they were. Like, I was like, yeah, I want more of this. You know, the ship battles and everything. You know, fighting against the navies and everything. And I think a lot of people, again, when they saw Skull and Bones, right, they're like, oh, you know, it'll make sense. You know, they should just copy that and, you know, add to it, right? But no, it's just weird, the situation surrounding Skull and Bones. So
yeah, because everybody's like, oh, that sounds great, and then we found out, oh, you can't. Now I don't know if anything's changed about it, but at least initially when Sea of Thieves was coming out and you're hearing about Skull and Bones, and then you're hearing like, oh, you're not, I guess you're not like a person, or you can't just get out and roam around, I guess, on the ship like you can with Black. Or I could be wrong, but so it's like, no, just give us more of that. Just like, don't have an Assassin's Creed thing tied to it. You can make up. Literally, you made like the best pirate game, I don't know, maybe ever, and with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And then so people were hyped when you're actually like, cool, let's make another Pirates game like that. But I don't know. At least with this, to get back on topic, the Assassin's Creed, the what is it called, Shadows? This one looks pretty dope for that setting. I wasn't like, I own the other ones just because they bought them for cheap, but Origin looked cool. I just never spent the time to touch any of that or Valhalla, but this one's kind of the one that probably speaks to me more than on the level of like Black Flag or something. Like, oh, okay, cool. I don't even care about I'm not even going to play 3. I'm not even going to finish Brotherhood. Like I played the first, 2. I think, what was it? Assassin's Creed 2, and then there was one that was before Brotherhood in between there, wasn't it?
No, it was Brotherhood and then Revelations.
Oh, okay. I played Brotherhood, and that's what I was getting mixed up. Revelations I did not finish, but I played the first 3. Those are cool. You know, for the most part, 1 had its own, but I don't think it was too long. But yeah, 2 and Brotherhood were awesome, and then I kind of just got 3 was just a little too much for me, and then or Brotherhood was, or not Brotherhood. I'm sorry, Revelations. That's where I kind of left off, and I didn't even touch 3. And then the only thing that got me pulled back was like, oh, I want to hear about the story. Now I should jump back into Assassin's Creed. No, it was just like the pirate stuff. I don't care about that. And I think they've gone away from a lot of that. I think that obviously there is some anime stuff, but definitely probably not as much as like there was in the first one, where you're like literally you're spending a lot of time in the Animus, and like every once in a while they'll like, but okay, now it's time to go back. It's like that part, that's what kind of dragged that game down initially. But I think they've kind of, since Black Flag at least, I haven't touched them, but it seems they've kind of leaned more into like, we get it, you actually want to spend more time and less time in the real present day
You really
whatever
didn't
system.
like that? You didn't like that? I used to love going to present time with Desmond and
I
exploring
think
that
the
world.
first one was cool because there's some like, there's more mystery of like behind it, and like, you know, what's going on, like, oh, this is, you know, because it's like, what is this machine that allows you to, but I think by the time, at least with when I was playing 4, I was just like, I'm enjoying this really cool Pirates game. Please stop taking me out of this, because I don't want to play this. Is completely different to what I'm playing. So I'm doing ship battles, and so at that point, I was just like, please stop taking me out of this. And I think there have been a lot of complaints about that, of like, that part's cool of the game, just do that.
Yeah. I would love a present day Assassin's Creed, or like futuristic one.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that would be interesting, but like I'm just Assassin's Creeded out, to be honest with you. There's just there's one that I have in my backlog that I do want to try, and again, it was another one of the games given away with Games with Gold. It was a Rogue, because it's a different style of Assassin's Creed.
Oh game. Yeah, I probably own that one too.
Yeah,
just from when they gave it away.
Yeah, so it's very tempting to just boot it up, because I've heard a lot of good things, because it is that different as well. So, yeah, I might do it this summer. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like there's a few things there that caught your eye, Shockley. Let's see, what else did they do? I guess there was some new stuff for the Crew Motor Fest. What else? Yeah, For Honor. What else do we got here? Avatar. I guess there's new content for the Avatar as well. A new story pack. What else? Yeah, Prince of Persia stuff. X-Defiant. I mean, let's see. One thing that did catch my eye, though, was that city building game. I guess it's a sequel or a spin-off. Anno 117 Pax Romana. That kind of caught my eye.
That one definitely looks good, but how is it going to compete against Ara and like other games like that? Right?
It depends when it releases. I'm not sure when the timeline is for it, but I don't know. I mean, I say more the merrier when it comes to those types of games. Because the first Anno, from what I was to understand, I didn't play it, but from what I was to understand, it was a pretty good city builder. So, I mean, time will tell with Ara. I mean, we'll probably be hearing more about that title soon, and yeah, we also have Age of Mythology coming up as well in September. That's going to be fun. But you're right. And isn't there like a new Sid Meier game coming out too, I think? Or it got announced anyways? A new Civilization game?
Yeah, maybe. But there's also that other city builder, City Skylines 2, I think, if that didn't come out already.
I thought it did. I know it got delayed, but I'd have to double check. I have to keep up with that.
So,
yeah.
But hopefully that game does well. I mean, it did look good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Roman theme, and I like, I mean, I just have a soft spot for those kinds of games, like, because, I mean, like, there can be, like, battles and stuff, but it's just, like, you know, you invest a lot of time, like, you know, making, you know, a city, a functioning city, so, and, you know, you make different trading alliances, and, yeah, there's just a lot of cool little micromanaging stuff in there if you're into that. But yeah, Grimes, I mean, moving on to you, yeah, what caught your eye here? Anything?
Also, and you mentioned The Crew. You know,
Mm-hmm.
The Crew is just such a weird franchise. Like,
yeah.
I really like the first one, like story-based one. It seemed interesting, but the drive-in, it's atrocious in The Crew. I just never like compared to its competition.
Yes.
The Crew just like it was never a good driving game.
I remember I downloaded the first one because, again, I think it was given away for free through Games with Gold, and after like 20 minutes, I just uninstalled it because I didn't like the driving, like you said.
Yeah, I think the second one was either free on the Epic's Game Store, or it could have been also, or maybe I've seen it on Game Pass. But I remember it was being given away for free as well. But it's interesting that they're continuing to add content to that game, you know, but
I'm shocked at For Honor. For Honor's been going for a while.
That too. But again, it's probably their Sea of Thieves type of game. Because it seems like people just keep going back to For Honor. I tried it when it first came out, but it just wasn't for me. It seemed like an interesting concept, but it never, you know, for me. But and you know, listen, I like Ubisoft, and I love many of their games, but in my opinion, they need a complete refresh. A lot of most of their games don't stand out. They look samey as well. Many of them share the same.
They're a publisher that just never impressed me. I'll be honest with you. I go to like I watch their shows and I'm like, I you know, like they just bore me to death personally.
You know, like the Monopoly stuff. I'm sure some kids might be excited about that, but majority of people tuning into that showcase are not gonna care.
The thing is, I mean, okay, you could argue, yeah, they have like a couple of new things, but they play it really safe, which, I mean, okay, I can understand some things, right? You got some hits. But then there's like other franchises that they could, you know, get into, but they don't. Or, you know, there's franchises that are missing. Like, it's just, Ubisoft's a weird one. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, they've had some interesting games like that Brawlhalla game. It seems like a cool little game. I think it's free to play, so maybe that will attract.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some players.
And yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just gonna say that, you know, everybody wants Splinter Cell, right? So.
Yeah. weren't they trying to remake? Wasn't there a remake or a remaster being worked on, or am I making that stuff up?
Yeah, there's. I think it was announced, if I'm not mistaken.
I do remember them showing off some Splinter Cell.
Well, they were teasing it for the longest time too.
Yeah, so I just don't get them. You know, like when they showed off the Division 1 for the first time. I know it was a fake trailer, and they ended up downgrading a lot of the stuff, but that was such a cool concept. I don't like. They should just experiment with newer sort of games. You know, like whatever happened to Beyond Good and Evil 2? Do you?
Oh, who knows at this point? It's.
I mean,
who knows?
I think last time they showed it was 2018, so it's been like forever. But that trailer was so cool, and then they even showed some in-engine stuff later on. So
yeah.
It was deep in development. And then yeah, it's been like 6 years since that trailer.
You know,
but it's a cool concept. I played the original. The original doesn't hold. It looks terrible. Like Shockley was talking about Perfect Dark. That you know, Beyond Good and Evil 1 looks atrocious nowadays, but
I mean, at least, I mean, this is where, like, that art style, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's older, but, like, at least, I mean, the art style does lend, like, it does lend longevity to it, like, you know, because it's a little more, it's more colorful, right? But I guess, yeah, with Beyond Good and Evil 2, they're going for more of a like semi-realistic look, right? From the looks of things, and yeah, who knows? Like, I mean, hey, I want to play it. I'm looking forward to it, but man, like, it's just who knows what the heck is going on with that project.
And it's probably the whole idea is probably outdated now, because I remember the whole thing was you can travel to any planet you want to, which is, you know, I know Starfield is most of the planets are empty and whatnot. It's procedural generated, but so maybe Starfield borrows quite a lot from Beyond Good and Evil, because you were also able to build your own ships however you wanted to in what they showed from Beyond Good and Evil.
Well, not just Starfield, but I'm kind of thinking that, you know, somewhere along the lines, like, there was probably a couple of games that came out and they're like, oh, that'd be cool to, you know, do with our game. And then a couple of game directors or higher-ups were like, okay, do that instead. And then they probably had to do a few workarounds, and, you know, they spend time on it, and then it's like, oh, maybe this doesn't work for us. Okay, we gotta go back to the drawing board on what we're doing here. It just, I don't know. I could see that happening.
And I'm looking at the comments now. Marco says we need another Watch Dogs, and to be honest, he's not wrong. I know, like, the last one, Watch Dogs Legions, which it was called, right? I think I own it, and I could never get myself to finish it. It just, the game having no story, it's a complete turn off. Like, I know the first two aren't everyone's cup of teas, but they were still interesting. I did enjoy, and the first one was pretty good, although the main character was a bit of an asshole. You know, he was a shit person. The second one in San Francisco improved in a lot of things. The how you know, you could go with the drone, and you have like those bombs, those electric bombs. I forget a lot of. It's been a while, but
right.
I enjoyed those games. messing with like the cops and the only thing I didn't like on Watch Dogs 2, it's how it was online and people can join your game and like mess with you or like screw your game up. But yeah, so it would be cool if they just do like Watch Dogs 4, but like bring it back to its roots. Do it like Watch Dogs 1. Maybe do it in Hawaii or I don't
Well,
know what.
they got probably a laundry list of places that they could.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
New York already has like the Division, so like try to explore cities that we haven't had. Because like one of the conversations we always have here, it's how studios reuse assets. So I mean, I don't really care about that, but some gamers might want something completely new.
I mean, it depends.
Did you say you didn't like?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say. Did you say you didn't like when people would invade your game?
Oh yeah, I did. Are you one of those people that did that?
Oh yeah, but it was also just like twofold because the cool part about it, you would just be playing your game, like doing your missions, and then out of nowhere, you would just see as you're walking by, this one car is just moving just a little bit weird, but they're like stopped because they're trying to hide. Because that was if they were invaded your game, they're trying to. I think they called it like voyeur. Basically, you're trying to spy for getting close proximity, but without them noticing you as a regular NPC. And then I would just look at like this one car one time, and I just looked at it, and I was like, that car is moving just like a little bit weird, like it's trying to be there in traffic, trying to, but it's sticking out. And then he doesn't know that I know, and then I just pulled out a gun and just started, unloading on him. But there was always a cool trick that you always could tell because whenever you would try to hit start, you wouldn't let you hit start. It wouldn't let you pause the game when someone invaded your game, so you kind of figure it out that way. But sometimes it'd catch you off guard.
I didn't even know about that. Like I was just trying to play my game and like never paid attention to like if someone was trying to invade my game. But
yeah, but that part when you would catch them, it would be hilarious. You'd get points for that too. So
oh did you? I never tried it, but yeah, I would definitely have like people trying to invade my game, and you're probably the one that was invaded my game.
Yeah, that was actually the funnest part I ever had with that game was when I would catch people, or I would be doing it to them, and they would be, trying to figure out, like, they would see something suspicious, and then I would hide if they did, spot you, because you can still blend in again, and then, they don't know where you went. But that part was actually the funnest times I've had because you were so much like high tension and stress with that. But yeah.
And then they went up and ruined it with 3, but did any of you guys play Watch Dogs Legions, which is like in a futuristic London?
No, but I remember watching a few reviews about it, and yeah, I mean that one pretty much tanked the series for a while. So
it basically had it's had a basic story similar to like how the Division tells a story, but like, all the missions were every single mission, like you would repeat the same mission in a row. Like sometimes it could be the same mission in a row.
Right.
The only cool thing about that game is that you can have an army of like old ladies, or like a team of like grandmas. And then there was permadeath. So like a lot of the characters you would use, they could die forever. But that was the only cool thing. And then obviously London looked really cool, but you couldn't do anything inside of it. Like it wasn't like GTA, like you can like go to stores or like go explore the city. There was nothing inside the city. It was like some pubs, which were like your hub, and that was it, or like your hiding place. But okay, so and then another thing, like Shockley mentioned it, but the Star Wars Outlaws game still looks sick from what they showed. I can't wait to play it. It seems like Massive took all the best thing, all the things that made the Division great, and implemented it here. Riding that speeder bike looks so much fun. Like Shockley touched on the wanted system from the GTA. So they definitely nailed the environments and the setting.
The space battles look pretty cool from what I saw too.
Yeah, and like the combat too, like kicking and the enemies. Yeah, like space battles. Hopefully they nail the story as well. They just like, for me, it's one of the most important things. It's nailing the story. One thing I didn't like about the Respawn Star Wars games, it's the story. I just never really cared about the main character. I think Cal.
Yeah.
I forget his name. Yeah. Everything else about the Respawn games were cool, but just the story never got my interest. So I hope this one is good. And then you guys also touched on the Assassin's Creed game. Again, I really like the combat on this one. Looks a lot more violent and bloody. If they can focus more on the story rather than the side quests, like I mentioned last week, like over Valhalla and Odyssey, where side quests galore, like so many that you just got tired of playing the game.
Yeah, like that's the thing, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like side quests too, but like it's when it comes to like, and I like RPG aspects in games too. It's just the like the whole like heavy grind. Oh man, like I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, like I feel like I did enjoy Odyssey, but the last Assassin's Creed that I really liked was Syndicate, which was in London as well with a brother and sister. I feel like that one was a really good Assassin's Creed, but unfortunately, it didn't sell that well because people were already burnt out, especially after the one in France. I forgot.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Which was
Was it Revolution or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it had all those bugs because with the NPCs, it was crashing and everything. Because so after that, people just stopped caring about the franchise. I didn't really see anything else that really caught my eye in the Ubisoft showcase. Like where's that next Division game as well? They teased it several years ago. I think there were 2 new Division games in the works. There was one a free-to-play Division game, and then there was or maybe that was the 3rd game. I forget, but I think there were like 2 new Division games in the works. So it's been like several years. we haven't heard anything, so would like to see more about that. Again, they need a complete refresh. We haven't seen anything new in the Rainbow Six franchise. It's just been Siege, right? Siege. They just keep adding content to Siege. Would like to see something new in that franchise.
Yeah, Rainbow. Yeah, I wish that we got like another like either like another like Rainbow Six Vegas game or like an offshoot of that or some sort. Like that would be sweet. And again, Splinter Cell, man. Like we got to learn something about Splinter Cell. Actually, I don't know if I told you guys. I had heard something from somebody. Like kind of like a friend of a friend kind of a thing that works at the studio that's doing it. And I had heard that I think it's Ubisoft Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And I had heard that it's just not in good shape. Like, it's just not in good shape right now. That's why they're not talking about it. So I don't know if it's been put on ice right now, if it's been shelved. Again, I'd like not to be too vague with you guys, but it's just I don't know what they're tinkering with, what they're doing with it. I don't know if they're trying to modernize things with the game, but it just doesn't sound like it's in a great state right now for them to show it. So it's either on ice, because I think the studio is actually, they're helping with another game, if I heard correctly. But yeah, that's basically it with this Splinter Cell. I wish there was more. I really wish that like Splinter Cell was like coming out soon though, because I miss it. Like I was thinking about like, remember when Xbox had that Splinter Cell exclusive game, Conviction? Like I really liked that game.
I think it's free. They gave it away on Games with Gold, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I own it. Like I got it when it first came out, and that was great. Like that was a great game. I mean, I thought, anyways.
Do you remember when like you were that bathroom scene and you smashed people like heads into the sink? That game, like you said, that game was great.
Yeah, even the co-op wasn't too bad either.
I never played the co-op, but
it was alright.
They just need to bring it back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what EA did with Dead Space. Look at what Capcom is doing with Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like Konami with Metal Gear Solid 3. Hopefully, I mean, we don't know yet, but from what they've shown, even though it's not my favorite, it's not my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, it does look cool. So you're telling me Ubisoft cannot emulate the same thing? Just
maybe. Like out of all the big publishers, Ubisoft just doesn't excite me. They never. I don't know. They've just never really done it for me personally. I see in the chat, David Weinholt, David Jaffe is right. If PlayStation wants to compete in the future, it needs to acquire Ubisoft. They have a successful subscription service, big IP for exclusives, cloud service, FPS games, etc. I mean...
Go ahead, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, no, you can chime in. I was just gonna say, I mean, he's right. I mean, I do agree with him on all those points. It just comes back to me. It's just like, I don't know. Ubisoft just doesn't, like, really attract me with, like, how they are right now. I mean, yeah, they do have all those, like, services and so on. Like, those are big strengths. But, I don't know. I guess, like, to me, it's just not, like, as sexy as what, like, a Bethesda was or something, you know?
For sure. But can Sony even afford a publisher to acquire a publisher? I don't think they can afford Ubisoft.
Well, it depends on the price. I mean, how much would Ubisoft be, do you think?
Let me see how much. they're worth.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure.
It should be more than Bethesda, I would imagine.
Probably around there, I would imagine. Because what, Bethesda was 8 billion?
Oh, okay. No, okay. So according to Google, it says Ubisoft are worth 3 billion, which I don't believe at all.
Okay, let's say they're like 5-6 billion. I mean, Sony might be able to get that money.
Yeah, but like I was thinking more in like the lines of like 10 to 15 billion, because they are bigger. They used to be bigger than Bethesda. I mean, so that's why I thought that would be worth more, but apparently not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to agree. I mean, they are kind of at a low point. I'll agree with David in the chat for sure that, like, so yeah, maybe that's why. I don't know. I mean, it might be tempting for Sony. Maybe. That would certainly make things even more interesting.
And especially now that Sony shut down its London studio.
Yes.
So they really have no European. They might have, I mean, like they have
Media Molecule
and Gorilla in like Holland.
Isn't Sony Bend in oh no.
No, the Horizon Studio one is in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's in the Netherlands. Well,
so, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Like, I know a lot of people might dismiss that, David, but I mean, to me, it's to me, I think it's a possibility.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, you know, I wasn't expecting Sony to go after Bungie, and they did. And they have been interesting in acquiring studios. I don't know about publishers, big publishers, but they certainly do have an interest in acquisition. So we'll see. We'll see. It's just the way that like the economies are doing right now. I don't like. It depends how tight they are with their money at this moment. So we'll see. They might go after them. But time will tell. Time will tell.
And besides, it's new Sony leadership, so it's not Jimmy Boy anymore. So, like you said, yeah, it's like it depends depends on their finances.
Yeah. Yep. Guys, any more comments on the Ubisoft show? Yes, no? All right. I mean, guys, like, again, Ubisoft is one. I mean, they had some good stuff, but, like, they're ones that, like, to me, like, I can't really say I was really heavily interested going into it, but they do have some interesting games. I'll be curious to see how Outlaws turns out. They'll be coming out in August, I believe, late August. And yeah, there's a few games. There's a few games there that look interesting, so we shall see. But I'm definitely more interested in the games that they haven't talked about. I'll say that much. Guys in the chat, everyone tuning in, again, thank you. It's always appreciated to have you here tonight. And if you haven't done so already, please smash the like button and share out the show. As I say very often, I would love to have more awesome people with us. And I mean that. I totally mean that. But, okay, gentlemen, let's move on to another subject, another show. And IGN had their live show. Which again showcased, well, a few things. Some stuff not necessarily game related. They had a variety of stuff. But there were some announcements, however, and interviews, including one with Xbox's Phil Spencer, going over a variety of questions, including studio closures, and there being interest for an Xbox handheld device, amongst other things. Grimes, my friend, please lead us off on this one. What did you get from Phil's discussions? Like, I don't know, what did you take from his conversations with IGN?
Certainly. Also, before I start, did anyone, and for anyone that watched it, did anyone see how much Phil has aged in the last 12 months? I mean, that Activision will do that to you.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Like, maybe not the last 12 months, but I have noticed over the past few years that, yeah, it does look like things have been a little more stressful on him.
You know, just to make sure, I went back to his kind of funny interview, and yeah, you can see that, which was like almost 12 months ago, and you can see a big difference. But again, it's like it's no surprise dealing with all those regulators. Um, you know, you know, your Microsoft bosses. So that stress will just drain you completely. But anyway, back to the IGN interview. You know, I don't want to go hard on Ryan McCaffrey, and I'm not a journalist. I know it's not an easy job, but some of those questions were a waste of time when he could have asked better ones like, where's the announcement of more Activision games coming to Game Pass? A lot of them were like softball questions. And many of the things discussed were sort of weren't actually new information. I mean, we kind of knew about Doom the Dark Ages, or we suspected that it was gonna come to PlayStation.
Right.
So it wasn't a big shock. It makes sense, to be honest. And what Phil said, it was pretty much PR talk, but Phil said it's a franchise that has history of releasing on so many other devices, so it made sense to release it on PlayStation. It will be interesting to see if they'll release it on Nintendo as well. I think I'm not sure if it was Doom Eternal or the previous one that released on the Switch, although it was through the cloud. But it will be interesting if Dark Ages does come to a Switch too, and whatever it will be through the cloud, or
I mean, just to add on there, Grimes. You know, because there's been a lot of speculation with regards to, like, again, Xbox game exclusivity, right, going forward, and how they communicate things. And I think, again, you're right. A lot of people had suspected, you know, again, coming to PlayStation, whatever. We had heard, you know, the rumors and whatnot. But then it just kind of makes you wonder, well, you know, games like Doom and so on, franchises that, yeah, they've been on other platforms before, but, like, you know, does that mean, like, you know, whatever new IPs they create, are they just gonna stay exclusive to the Xbox platform, like Starfield, right?
No, but that's why I feel like it's a PR talk. Like, I think moving forward, all Bethesda games will be multi-platform. That's my personal opinion. I feel like that's what's good.
So Indiana Jones, you think will eventually come to PlayStation?
Yeah. The thing, I mentioned it last week, but remember I said that Bethesda weren't happy that Activision games were going multi-plat, but not theirs. Even like Pete Hines complained before he left Xbox. He complained about that. I mean, I think it was in the leaked documents, so he complained to them privately, but he didn't seem happy that the thing is, most developers will want their games on as many hands as possible, or on as many gamers as possible. So, but you know, and then he did mention, oh, you know, or he didn't mention this, but you know, we've seen Doom even running on a smart fridge, so they could use that excuse for Doom. I think it all comes down to money and on how many hands you can get your games to.
Right.
And then he did mention, of course, he did mention, Phil Spencer mentioned that this wasn't a decision made by him. If not, it was made by Doom's executive producer, Marty Stratton.
Okay.
He, on the interview with Ryan, he said that he's the one that wanted to release Doom: The Dark Ages on multiple platforms. Of course, the final decision comes down to Microsoft and not by a studio executive, but that's what we're going with. And not to repeat myself, but you know, like Microsoft just wants to get as many gamers as possible. It's not about how many consoles you sell anymore. It's about the number of gamers. That's worth more than how many consoles you sell.
But then I think my inner crusader comes out, and I have to mention that, you know, I still, you know, I want to believe that, again, that there is a future for their hardware, and, you know, I want to see what they have in the pipeline going forward with their hardware, you know, as the rumors have commenced, you know, especially with the handheld stuff, which we'll probably be touching on soon. But even just, again, you know, they put so much effort into backwards compatibility, and I want to see that continue with their hardware, right? So, you know, that's what makes them, to me, like, you know, very appealing going forward.
But look, I can see, I think it's inevitable that even Sony brings Helldivers to Xbox. It's a shame Dots and Crusader couldn't make it because they both play that game and they'll have a better understanding of a player base. But looking at it from the outside, that game is barely spoken about anymore. Like, I haven't heard a beep about Helldivers anymore. And a few months ago, everyone was talking about it nonstop. So, you know, Sony wants to get more players into that game. And if it wasn't for the Steam players, that game probably wouldn't have done that well. Like, it would have done poorly on PlayStation. So, Steam players is what made that game great. I feel like Xbox players would love to have a game on the platform, and I just feel like Xbox will start releasing more games on PlayStation and Nintendo. And of course, again, like, I love exclusives. I don't think every game will go on PlayStation. I don't think Gears will go on PlayStation.
It's just interesting where you see, because again, a new announcement recently was the Horizon, the Lego game for Horizon Zero Dawn, right? And that was just at the Summer Game Fest like a week or so ago. And yeah, and of course, you know, because it was mentioned in our DM and it was everywhere that, you know, it's going basically everywhere except for Xbox. So even Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I try to play some of those Lego games that came on Xbox, like the Star Wars ones. I had Batman. Did they have a Batman games as well, or it was Marvel? I just remember.
Yeah, there's Batman. There's yeah, you're right. They basically have all the Lego games, even the one that was like exclusive to the Wii U. What was it? Undercover, Lego City Undercover. Like, it's all available pretty much on Xbox now.
You know, but the thing is, they pretty much gave those games away for free pretty much all the time with Game Pass or Games with Gold. So they must. So what I'm trying to say is, like, they probably didn't do that well sales wise on Xbox. So maybe it didn't make sense. I know that they should have released it on Xbox, so it's not a good look. but look at, for example, I don't want to sidetrack, but look at that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned I just blanked out and I mentioned it in the group chat a few days ago. That hyper, like that toy soldiers game.
Oh yeah, hyper. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that game is doing wonders on Xbox.
Yes.
I mean, it's like one of the best selling games on Xbox. And it's not on PlayStation yet. I think it came out on Steam first, and then recently on Xbox. And so again, like, I feel like games like this are important to come on like all other platforms, but Hypercharge, yeah. Thanks, newbie. So it's, yeah, I mean, I just feel like I said, like, I feel a lot more games, especially live service games, are gonna go on other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that people don't talk about is there's the rumor that games will start costing $80 to $100 for the standard version. So that means, like, gamers are not going to be able to spend. You're going to be able to buy like maybe 2 or 3 games a year, not like before. Like when games used to cost $50 to $60, you could afford 5, 6, 7 games maybe. Nowadays it's like so. But by them charging more, you're gonna try to get your games to on as many platforms as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they already cost that much here in Canada, so oh man, like we got screwed.
There's always that rumor that GTA 6 will be $100 because they can get away with it. So if they start charging $100, you bet your ass, everybody else will attempt to charge $100 for their games. I can see Ubisoft will most definitely. 2K will do that with their other games, or NBA can NBA 2K can cost you a fortune as well with all the points you can buy. But anyway, I digress.
What do you think about the whole Xbox handheld talk? And like Phil was kind of saying that, yeah, we're interested, we're totally like, into the idea, pretty much suggesting that, again, we've heard the rumors, right? Like it seems like it's going to be coming, just in what form,
Yeah, for sure. And before I talk about the console, Phil also mentioned that Xbox has more console users than ever before. And as much as people hate on the Series S, that has had a lot to do with it. That has helped grow the number of users. I've got several friends who play on all platforms, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and on Windows. And now, if a company offered you a cheaper console that gives you the same games as the higher end model, of course you're gonna go with that console. And these friends play most of their games on Xbox, like third-party games. They play most of their third-party games on Xbox, and they just keep PlayStation for the few exclusives PlayStation gives them. They don't care about the whole 60 FPS conversation, just like I don't care. And then I still know people that have the Xbox One consoles. They just refuse to upgrade. And even third-party sales have increased on the Xbox store. According to Phil, they've doubled, and that's that's with all of PlayStation's efforts to become the third-party console. Like they've been trying for years to 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 call themselves like the third-party platform, but Xbox has always been the place for third-party games.
Right.
Like I mentioned earlier, like just now, like most of my friends that have all the consoles, they prefer playing their third-party games on Xbox.
Right.
It's just I don't know why why is that, but it just it has always felt like that's a home for third-party games. I also, you know, this is a stupid thing, but I don't like the PlayStation controller. I've tried it many times. I just can't get used to it. Xbox controller for life for me. Would love to. I mean, this is something they didn't talk about. I know we talked about it last week, but I would love to see that new controller that has been leaked before. He didn't see. Another thing Ryan could have asked him about is the controller. He didn't ask them about that. But another thing is, you know, like I know I'm gonna circle back to something I said, but you know,
sure.
Like gaming Twitter, it's just a vocal minority. We're just in a small bubble. I know people that don't follow the industry have no social media. Yet they still keep buying games, playing Call of Duty, EAFC, NBA 2K. Those dudes, like, they keep buying those games every year. They don't care about what's going on in the industry or gaming Twitter. So I feel like Game Pass, like people keep saying Game Pass, it's gonna affect sales, but with on Call of Duty and games like that, I just don't think so, because hardcore Steam players, they're not gonna. You can offer them Call of Duty for free on Game Pass. Do you really think they're gonna they're gonna download the game on the Windows Store? Unlikely.
Right.
What's the percentage of PlayStation gamers that are gonna switch to Xbox just to play Call of Duty? Probably less than 5%. So I just feel like, most players don't care about exclusivity, or like, especially like the players I just mentioned, like NBA 2K dudes. They don't care about. They just that's the only game they play throughout the entire year. Same thing with Call of Duty people. I know, like gamers, that's the only game they play every single year. They don't care about any other game. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just agreeing with you. Yeah, I know. Again, the just general gamer, a more casual, plays, the Maddens, Call of Duty, maybe Battlefield, something like that, maybe the occasional Halo, etc., etc. It will be interesting to see, again, when Call of Duty does drop and it's on Game Pass day one. I am really looking forward to seeing, like, the numbers out of that one. So, that's going to be interesting.
Call of Duty will most definitely not make as much money on sales as it did before, because like Xbox players will be playing it for Game Pass. But as I've mentioned in previous shows, they'll make shit ton of money by having like Master Chief skins, or like Marcus Phoenix skins, or I don't know, like your Vote Boy, from Fallout.
Yeah.
Or like, oh my god, the Brotherhood of Steel armor as a skin. Do you know how much money that would make? Like, it's all about fear of missing out.
Oh yeah.
That will get you. Like, so I'm not like, I don't think Xbox or Microsoft is worried about losing money.
No, they're gonna make money regardless. It's just gonna be interesting to see, like, again, how it affects Game Pass and whatnot, and if they, just the kind of bumps that they get, right? So
yeah, I really hope Call of Duty at least bumps Game Pass by, I don't know, 20 million users. I don't know if that's a realistic number, but I would love to see like a big bump like that. I think that would be realistic. Maybe Microsoft is expecting a 50 million bump. I don't know, but I feel like a 20 million bump would be a good. I don't even know at what number it's right now, but
not 100% sure at this point in time, but I'll admit I'm keeping my like estimates on that a little more on the conservative side, but still, I mean, it's gonna be a bump regardless. Again, I'm just gonna wait until like it's actually come out, and hey man, we'll see. We'll see on that.
And then like, yeah, so like we touched on the rumored Xbox Handheld, and we've talked about it to death. So I don't know what else I could say about it. Yeah, it's happening. It's one of the worst kept secrets in the gaming industry. It's been like so many journalists have been sort of leaking it here and there. So it's coming. And like, as we've discussed on the show before, I think like most of us believe that it's going to replace the Series S in next generation, right?
Sorry, what was that?
Right? Oh, no, I'm saying I feel like we've discussed in the show before that the Xbox handheld device will replace the Series S.
Oh yeah.
So it just makes no sense to have another console. Just have your high-end console and then the handheld. And I feel like that's going to be the killer product. Your games, your entire library, anywhere with you, including Game Pass. And you bet your ass, Sony is most likely working on the same thing. That would be stupid not to work on another PSP, right?
Yeah, they're supposedly they're working on something like that, yeah.
I mean, like, I think it was so stupid to work on that, like, that other device, like, the
Vita?
PlayStation Port, no, the PlayStation Port, no, like the streaming device.
Oh, right, yeah.
That looked like the PlayStation controller. They should have just focused on making a handheld device, like the PSP. But I've considered getting a Steam Deck or the Asus ROG Ally. They're really cool devices. Like, the only thing I don't like about the Steam Deck is that it runs Linux, and of course you can install Windows, but it's a pain in the ass. Like, with a ROG Ally, you've got Windows is installed on it, and you can play games from the Epic Game Store, GOG, even the Windows Store, Game Pass, your Steam library. So, to me, like the Asus ROG Ally, it's a better buy, but unfortunately, nowadays I don't commute as much, so it's there's no need for to buy it for me at the moment. But it's such a cool device, so I feel like I would love to have an Xbox handheld, but unless I start traveling more, then there would be no point for me to buying it. But also, like David was talking about how the Steam Deck sold only 3 million units in 4 years. But the thing is, I feel like Xbox is a bigger brand than Steam. Not everyone has computers that can run like high-end games. So I feel like that's why more people have consoles, and I feel like Xbox will definitely sell more than 3 million units in less time than the Steam, because of brand recognition.
Well, to be fair, they have to market the crap out of it if they do release it, and sometimes I have to admit Xbox hasn't been doing like great with some of the advertising for their games. So,
oh yeah, like Hellblade, of course, But the thing is, like most of us on the panel, we have over 300 games. I think I have 400 games installed on my Xbox. So imagine if you can have half of that, like that's like 200 games installed on your handheld device, and you can just take those 200 games with you anywhere, and you can play them in an instant. Like, that's a game changer. And people have big Steam libraries, but I don't think that some might have libraries as big as like 400 games or whatever, but not the average user. I feel like the average gamer probably has, even on Xbox, an average Game Pass player most likely has of 100 games. While like your average Steam player probably has like 20 to 40 games.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, they have a lot of good sales on Steam, so I know people that just have like back ends of their library. They have like hundreds of games because the sales have been just immense. So,
but would you consider that like an average gamer? Probably not. Probably that would be someone that plays all the time.
No. But the thing is, I mean, again, hey, I'm a console guy for the most part, but I do know that PC gaming, like a lot of people, like over the years, I mean, there has been a lot more interest from like casuals, especially with the advent of streaming and whatnot, right? So it has picked up. It has picked up, I would say. But I mean, most people just want the ease of use, right? That's where consoles come in. So.
And another thing David is saying is that if Steam is on the next Xbox, PlayStation will 100% block Steam from hosting PlayStation games on Xbox. That's probably true, but
I mean, I wouldn't doubt there have been conversations. I know that like in recent weeks there's been stuff brought up about Xbox buying Valve and so on. I mean,
I can see that happening. I mean, we discussed that a few weeks ago. So.
Yeah, like I'm sure those conversations have taken place. But I just I can't see that. Plus, I mean, I just want Xbox, like, they've been growing so much recently that, like, I just want them to concentrate on, getting everything aligned in their own house first before they buy anybody else. So,
Exactly. I mean, I'm with you 100%. And quickly, I just wanted to touch on one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
On Gears of War. I know I mentioned last week that my dream Gears would be an open world game similar to Horizon Forbidden West or whatever. But thanks to the greater porting by Jess Corden on Windows Central, we've gotten a few more details about E-Day since the reveal. It's going to be a linear type of game, similar to like the older games, with some level of horror. Just like bringing it back to its
which sounds great. That sounds exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know this was introduced in Gears 2, and I hated doing those missions. But bring back the Krill. Do you remember? It's like those bad-looking bloodsuckers.
Oh, you're talking about like when there's like you have to go into the the dark and the light. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like you stepped 1 inch out of a light, and you got devoured. You were dead. It would be like I would love to see because I don't think we saw them after Gears 2, and I feel like Gears 3 became more actiony, so I feel like after Gears 2 it stopped being a horror type of game, and it would be lovely to see it come back to to its original roots. And obviously people were wondering about the multiplayer aspect of the game. Of course, that's E-Day is gonna have all the bells and whistles of what made Gears multiplayer great. I feel like they're gonna abandon some of the stuff from like the people didn't like from Gears 5. Like people had many complaints of how the multiplayer worked. I feel like we're gonna abandon those things. And
I'm just interested because of their wording on this, right? That this is basically gonna be, well, from the sounds of it, like a new trilogy, right? For it.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that they're doing this. I mean, I have no complaints, I'll be honest. But it's just interesting because it kind of like leaves the other story hanging. So I'm very curious where they take things. Very curious.
But they also mentioned that they're not going to abandon the Gears 5 story. They will continue it eventually. But I feel like people like I keep hearing like people, oh, I'm sick and tired. Like we don't need another Gears game. Like I didn't really care about the characters from like the Gears 4 or Gears 5, but as soon as they heard an origin story, like okay, I'm here, like they're like completely changed their mind, and I'm here for it. Yes, please, I want that. And it's like we discussed last week, like you, MLD, and I, and I'm sure like Shockley just talked about how great Gears 1 was. We've always dreamt about experiencing the origins of Gears.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I feel like that's pretty much all I had to say.
No.
I've talked way too much, and I would love to hear what Shockley has to say about it as well.
No. Well said. All well said there, Grimes. Very good points. But yes, I mean, I will have to agree. Shockley, what do you think about, again, the IGN interview with Phil Spencer? I mean, obviously, there's a few things, like Grimes was saying, whether it be the handheld studio closures. There was a variety of questions. Did anything stick out to you in particular?
Yeah, just that probably that one comment that he made when I think the one that was getting passed around everywhere, basically about the we so I forget the exact quote, but basically you'll probably see more of our games, or given the reason why Doom was going to make the jump, which I guess we got actually more detail from that from the studio dev or the director, whoever, was either maybe prompting or asking for it, and then that's where they may have made the decision, of like why they went along with that, because it is one of those games. But then that also leads us to think that well, so it's hard to say because Starfield. I don't know if they're gonna let Starfield go because they kind of stood firm on that of like, oh, this is exclusive. They never did that with like Hi-Fi Rush. If anything, and that one never even had like one of those early trailers where it was like, literally would tell you before each trailer exclusive. Well, that was just, they showed you off in a
and
direct.
Not to interrupt, but there's like also some new stuff about Starfield. What was it, earlier today too? Because I think what was it? Somebody was interviewing Todd Howard. I think it was Mr. Matty Plays, and like there was some new stuff because they're talking about year 2 of Starfield, and I think they were talking about like more content coming after this expansion coming out, the Shattered Dimensions. And they were talking about, like the average player, what was it, put in like 40 hours, and there was like 14 million players to the game. Like, some pretty big numbers.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So I mean, no, I was gonna say, I think with it's I was gonna say like, oh, maybe that means like Skyrim not being exclusive, but then again, that would be directly from Todd Howard, so it's like, and they already have ESO and Fallout, 76 to like, hey, that's on PlayStation, so they can still use those as like building content, kind of like with Call of Duty Warzone. So maybe they're still able to swing that, because I mean, like we see again, Starfield is Todd Howard's big game. Then his next project would move on likely to, well, they've already announced Elder Scrolls 6, but it'd be weird to then make his next game not exclusive. But I mean, I guess we'll see. But I think that at least gives us some pause of, why they kind of let that one slip, because now everybody's thinking that it's, that for sure in that statement that he made, like, you're going to see more of our games. Yeah, because there's probably going to be more of those situations that comes up where they make a decision of like, what, this game has like been like Doom is literally, it's been on almost every type of gaming hardware, period. There's one on PlayStation, there was on Sega Saturn, there was one on N64. Like, it's been on, I think the one time it wasn't on like multiple consoles was when I think Doom was on, like they had Doom 3 exclusive on the original Xbox. That and like PC had it. So I don't think that went onto like PS2 or anything. So I think that was like one of the like few exclusives. Although like Doom 64 was its own thing. So, but you at least had Doom iterations on like multiple consoles like throughout its history. So I could see with such a well-known and historic IP like that makes sense. So hopefully that's where they draw the line and they at least keep some exclusives, under wraps. Because people also like to point out that, if this was the case, if like, hey, this is, just going to happen from now on, why would you announce a 2025 game in Doom coming to PS5 and not Fable? It's also coming in 2025. Why is it not announced for the PlayStation? So I think they are making those points of like, yeah, let's not take the games that are like almost part of Xbox's identity and put those on PlayStation. We still have so many other games we can publish and make a ton of money Doom, with other games that we'll see. So Call of Duty and the like. But yeah, I think that's where at least they'll draw the line there. But yeah, otherwise, trying to think of anything else that he said that was, because I didn't catch most of the interview, because I just saw some of those first snippets where it was kind of annoying from what he was saying, but then like when I listened to a little bit more of like, okay, so, and then also hearing about the kind of the reason behind it with the Doom situation. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, was IGN, was like Ryan not asking follow-up questions? Because it's kind of like what we see in like politics, where it's like, are you afraid of like not getting access to that person again? So that's why you didn't ask like a logical follow-up question to that, like that Doom.
Right. Yeah.
The answer he gave for Doom of like, yeah, we think that's a game that should be, everyone should play. It's on, it was like, okay, well, what is this? What about? You should have just gone down a list. What about, just to name a few? And then also when he said you're going to see more of our games, I'm like, okay, what games? Or because this was a little bit different than what you kind of stated, 4 or 5 months ago. Like you literally said, this isn't a signal to everybody else to, if you think everything else is coming, that's not what this means. But hopefully it's just kind of like they'll pick and choose, like kind of like they did say case by case basis back in the day with Bethesda. Although they also said where Game Pass exists, it's about exclusives. But yeah, that is that kind of PR speak where you could literally take, some of those sentences to mean pretty much anything they want it to mean. Like when it says legacy stuff, I think of like stuff that's already on the platform, or stuff like, hey, we remade this, or we remade Skyrim, or although Morrowind wasn't on PlayStation, but maybe if they did Oblivion, maybe if they remade Oblivion and put it on PlayStation because it was on PlayStation. So I would think it'd be more legacy stuff like that, not, hey, here's a new, complete, all new iteration, entry in the series of Doom. So, but yeah, they can kind of do whatever they want. But
what really catches my eyes when we hear these rumors of, let's say, like, there's a Halo 1 like remake, like a full-on remake coming, and then it's gonna come to not just Xbox but also PlayStation, right, and other platforms, and it's just like, I don't know, that's I think that would be that'd be a big messaging thing, so that's why, they have to be really concise with what they do with, like, again, these games right now. I mean, again, I do think that, like, Doom the Dark Ages makes sense, but then, like, yeah, keep a game like Starfield on, and then what you were talking about, Eric, as well. It's like, do they put Morrowind and so on, or whatever remakes come afterwards? Like, because again, we're hearing about, we've heard about Oblivion remake, or and so on, right? So it's just very interesting.
And maybe it was one of those things with, because if that, it sounds like if that, that person's from that studio hadn't asked, then it wouldn't even have been on PlayStation apparently. But so, because it is weird that why would Doom go there and not Indiana Jones? That game would make more sense, and because it's just a movie IP.
I feel like Indiana Jones will go to PlayStation, but probably.
Well, I meant like day one, like it's going day one for Doom. They're not even giving like a 6-month exclusive.
Yeah, true.
So that's the other part that kind of is like weird. It's like at least Hi-Fi Rush was out for like a year, when it eventually, and that was the most recent one that kind of went to PlayStation. So that's the other thing. It's just kind of weird where they for sure don't have like an established and I don't think they ever will. It'll just be one of those things where, like they said, case by case basis, and they'll just, kind of like they did with Cuphead or Ori, like they'll just kind of, you know what, this game, let's just put it on PlayStation for whatever reason. They published those games, or published at least like the Ori games, and then put it on PlayStation, but didn't put, Gears 5 on PlayStation. So they are, drawing a line somewhere, but hopefully they keep that line, because otherwise it would be, if they did put like Gears or Halo on there, it'd be a death spiral. And Gears, people I did see said like, you need to put Gears on PlayStation, because that means it'll, not be, it can survive. I'm like, Gears is always going to have an issue being niche because how sweaty it gets. Like,
yeah, but if the campaign is good and Horde mode as well, like if Horde is there and it's good, then people are going to stick around, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like Gears. Well, again, we gotta see more of E-Day, but like if it's anything like going back to the roots, what they say, it'll be successful. Oh yeah, it'll be very successful.
I know people didn't like the Gears of War 5 multiplayer, but I played so much, and like a lot of the skins were so cool too. Like you could even have like they had a deal with the Terminator movie, and you can play as some of the characters, as Sarah Connor and some of the other ones.
Well, yeah, the issue is that, I mean, I know they had the deal for that movie, but that movie didn't turn out so well. So I mean, it was cool. I mean, the skins themselves were fine, don't get me wrong, and like they're very detailed, and Gears of War 5 is a very detailed game. I mean, all the Gears games are. But yeah, it was just like, yeah, I mean, the way that worked out, I don't know, it just wasn't a very popular movie at the time, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd be curious to see if, like, again, like some other like smaller titles come that are like done by Xbox. Like, I never hear like a title. Remember The Gunk? That game.
Yeah.
Like, I never hear that game get mentioned. I'm pretty sure that was an Xbox exclusive. Little indie title.
But they don't own it. I think like.
No, but I mean, I'd be curious to see, what the story with that game is. I'm pretty sure Xbox Publishing must have had some kind of deal there.
Yeah. It's an interesting game, but I never finished it.
Neither did I. It was okay, but I don't know. It is what it is. Or like if Ori makes its way to PlayStation, that kind of thing. So, but we'll see. Anything else you wanted to comment on, Shockley, with regards to the interview, or?
Nope. I think that's about it.
All right, that's cool. No. Well, all well said points there. Like as far like not so much with the interview. I mean, we pretty much made our points with Phil's comments. I do agree. Like Ryan could have asked some more interesting questions. The way that he was talking, I thought he could have been a little more creative. But whatever. One thing I will say though, like again, like overall, like besides that interview, like I thought that IGN's like kind of like show, if you will, like I just thought it was kind of boring overall. I didn't really care for it, but there was a couple of standouts for me. One was the reveal for The Thing Remastered. Did anybody play The Thing on like Xbox or PlayStation back in the day?
No.
Nope.
I thought it was a pretty cool game. Then again, I always liked the movie as well. I have it for the original Xbox, and man, I gotta play it. I gotta play it again sometime soon. But that really caught my eye. Another one of the games done by Night Dive Studios. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but that looked pretty cool. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I thought, IGN's show was just kind of dull. I know it was over like a span of a couple of days, but like, I don't know. They had a lot of non-gaming related stuff, and just now nothing really piqued my interest.
Was it better than the Summer Game Fest, or about the same level?
About the same level for me personally, to be honest. I mean, maybe Summer Game Fest had like, I don't know, maybe just barely above it personally. Um, but I tell you, Xbox is really saving the the summer right now.
For like IGN, it seems like Xbox is keeping IGN relevant. Like whatever that be, bad, like bad stories, negative stories about Xbox, or good stories about Xbox. I feel like without Xbox, IGN would have no stories whatsoever.
Well, yeah, or any of the gaming outlets really at this point. Yeah, otherwise they would have nothing to talk about. Like, because I still think we're waiting on Nintendo to announce something, right?
That would be interesting. I mean, I don't play Nintendo games as much as I used to before, but I respect them. Like MLD always says, they're our friends. Nintendo are our friends. So yeah, I respect them.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Switch kicking around. There's still a few things that I need to play, and oh yeah, they got some stuff coming out this summer. Now that I think about it, like Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But
Bible, I'm sorry. I was gonna ask, did anyone hear? So the cost for a trailer for the Summer Game Fest leaked. Did anyone catch that?
no, I didn't catch that. What amount?
So for a 1 minute trailer, it costs you $250. For a minute and a half, it costs you 350K.
Oh.
For a 2 minute trailer, 450. 2 minutes and a half, 550K. I don't know who leaked it, but yeah, it was like all over the internet after the show, and it's no surprise why so many, like, that's why E3 doesn't exist anymore, because like companies realize like how much money they can save.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. Well, things got really expensive, yeah. That's why again Jeff has to be careful as well. I mean, because I'll say this, like, he had some better announcements a few years ago, but this year, like, I thought, like, again, it was such a poor showing. Like, I don't know. It was almost like, again, he was focusing on, like, just because the people paid into it, these different companies paid into it, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a good show. It has to be quality, right, over money, unfortunately. So,
but that's how the Game Awards went as well. Like, I don't think people really liked last year's Game Awards either. So, like, his last two shows have been really bad. So, hopefully, he learns a lesson and does a better job.
At least the Game Awards had a few things, but I agree with what you're saying, though, yes. Because, like, just the way that it's organized, I don't like it, personally.
I mean, I just don't like the Game Awards because it's less about the people that make games, but more about the sponsors. And we're supposed to be celebrating the people that make games. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But
yeah, you're right. All right, guys, I guess that's about it for tonight, though. I know we're a little short-staffed here, but we covered things pretty well, I'd say. 3-man crew, 3 amigos. Yeah, we did good. 3 musketeers, as you were saying earlier on. But yeah, so that does it for this iteration of TXR. Yeah, guys, lots of good discussions tonight, surrounding Ubisoft Forward and, of course, IGN Live, more specifically like the Phil Spencer interview. Again, thank you everyone for stopping by tonight. It is always appreciated by myself and the lads. If you enjoyed the talk tonight, then please consider dropping a like, sharing the show out, and hey, subbing over to the channel, of course. But with that said, let's get over to the outros, starting off with Eric Shockley. Shockley, buddy, hey, good stuff tonight, as per usual. Where can all these excellent people find you?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at ShockNero on Twitter, EZShock on Xbox Live, especially if you're trying to play any Gears. The one cool feature with that is, which I don't know why, I don't think PlayStation has this, but it's a sick feature, which I think all of us have used, but the looking for group, which is sick because you'll start a game and it literally pulls up the looking for group for that game. And you can easily see other posts where you can join up, run up, make a squad, because you likely don't have squad mates for these games anymore. Because sometimes I ran into them recently where like a squad was running and I'm like, we're getting work because obviously we're just randoms. But yeah, that part's sick. So, but yeah, good show tonight. See you next week.
Of course. Next up, Grimes. Grimes, of course, I loved your takes as well. Wonderful discussion overall, really. Again, where can all these fine people follow you at?
Yeah, great Sunday as always. You can find me on Twitter at FakeMayhemOG. And, have a great week, everyone. And looking forward to next weekend.
Oh, yeah, you got it. And of course, guys, I'm Invader. You guys can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming, along with a slew of other video platforms that I'm on, such as Rumble. Also, TXR is on Rumble if you guys want to check us out there. Guys, again, great chat tonight, and we look forward to seeing you over here on the next one. Later, folks.